Nadam se da neće biti pogrešno shvaćeno što ipak ću ovdje govoriti na jeziku koji govorim, dakle, zbog naših gostiju. Uostalom, naš Ustav još uvijek nije preveden na naše jezike, naš Ustav još uvijek važi na engleskom, tako da ću ja govoriti, dakle, jezikom našeg Ustava i naših gostiju. Tako da ako nemate ništa protiv, ja bih prešao na, što kažu, jezik našeg zvaničnog Ustava, kojim se nadam da ćemo ga promijeniti i napisati na našem jeziku. First, I would like to invite Georgios Papandreou. Any one of our guests, there is no need to make introduction for. But I mean, for the record, I have to say a few words. George was a foreign minister in the last millennium and this millennium. And he is known as someone who was promoting peace and democracy as well as for fighting against racism, and notably for his successful campaign as a foreign minister to engineer a reapproachment between Greece and Turkey that were example of conflicting neighbors. George was actually someone who helped us a lot at that time. As a matter of fact, the first state building, first institution of the Bosnia and Herzegovina state building was rebuilt, our government building on Marindvor, the tall one, not the long one, by support of Greece, and George was actually the one who wanted, as a foreign minister of Greece, to show their commitment to Bosnia and Herzegovina as one state. George was president of PASOK, and of course, George is my president because he's president of Socialist International in the last 9 years, and this is the position that he still holds on. He was prime minister of Greece in a very turbulent time, from 2009 to 2011, and I'm not going to ask him about the Greek crisis this time. I will just ask him to open the floor by giving us his perspective of how this process started, because he was the one who created actually the Thessaloniki process that resulted then later on with Alexander to have a chance to bring his country into the EU. So for George, I simply have no question. I would ask him just to tell us what he thinks is the most proper one.
Zlatko, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. And I was just, again, thinking about this, what I would say, and it still is quite a, how would you say, a wonderful event that we together here, and all of you, are part of the same family, of the European family. And I say that because when I grew up, Alexander knows this well, I knew I had Polish background, but from my great-grandfather, but to go to Poland was almost impossible. It was like going, and it was the divides we had. And of course in the Balkans, Greece, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania, Yugoslavia, Albania, we really had almost no contact when I was growing up. There was the Cold War, the enemies, fear, and now we are talking about shared values. Now we're talking about shared societies. And Zlatko, I want to thank you for this, because you are a leader in these ideas, both in your country, but also for the region and for the world. And I would say that, as you mentioned, part of the session is also in education. And I think what we politicians need, and you are, to be educators, and educated, but be educators also in our societies for a different vision. And a more humane and a more sustainable vision, and that's what you have been serving all your life, Zlatko. So thank you for that. I would also want to say that despite the difficulties in the region, and we still do have difficulties, and it's been a long process and a difficult one. However, if you look at it from another way, or look at it from another side, let's say from the side of southern Mediterranean, from the side of the Middle East, and so on, we are an example. We are in the end an example of how we can work together, how we can overcome these building walls, even after the atrocities that we've gone through here of ethnic cleansing, of mass murders and so on, we can show the world that there is an alternative. And so calling Sarajevo Jerusalem of Europe is very much pertinent, because we are in the neighborhood. This is our neighborhood of the Middle East and southern Mediterranean. We're not far, and we must continue to be a positive example, not only for our region, but also for the world. And I say that because enlargement, which you mentioned, is not a geographical term. It sounds geographical, but it's not geographical. It's highly political. It is basically saying we have the shared values. We are a family of values, and that was our slogan when we were in the presidency of the European Union in 2003, and when we promoted the Thessaloniki agenda, saying Western Balkans is part of Europe. We need to complete this project. Well, maybe not complete only with Western Balkans, of course, but also for other parts of Europe, and Turkey was one of them. The opposite, of course, is, as you said, Zlatko, the segregated societies, segregated countries. That is the other vision of a society, but I think it is a utopia. Utopia meaning in Greek a place that does not exist. You cannot have a segregated society, or it is an unsustainable society. I say that often because in the recent years, having gone through the financial crisis in Greece, and I won't get into the financial crisis, but what I will tell you is sometimes to be able to get away from it all, I would get into my kayak, go to an island. I would say, oh, it would be great just to isolate myself here with the goats, with the cheese, with the fruits, with the vegetables, the olive oil, the wine, the sea, the sun. That would be great. But if you go to a small island, a very small island off the coast of Turkey called Agathonisi, I visited that recently, you will see, if you go down deep in the sea, you will not only find ancient ruins, you will find all the waste of industrial society and plastic bottles. You will see that climate change can mean that this island will be underwater after some decades. You will also see that once in a while, people wake up. There are about 150 citizens on this island, and there will maybe be 200, 300, 400 refugees from Syria, from Iraq, from somewhere else in the world, from Afghanistan. And of course, on the other side is Turkey, very close to that island. The fear of war was there in the past. I believe it's much less now. But the fact is that on the other side, they have the same problems. They have the same problems as that small island. So why not work together? And this, I think, is what Europe is moving into. We have been a peace project. Europe has been a peace project of shared values, democracy, and I had the honor of being in the signing ceremony for the accession of 10 countries under the Acropolis in Athens. That was a beautiful event. Democracy, human rights, social cohesion, respect of minorities, respect of one's neighbors. But other than a peace project, Europe is now facing a new challenge, which I believe is very important for the world. Europe could and should be a humanizing power for globalizing society. A humanizing power in being able to mitigate the problems of globalization, whether it's the financial crisis, whether it is climate change, whether it is poverty, showing that we can work together and we need to work together in order to deal with these issues. We cannot alone deal with these global issues. So there is one more important element to the European peace project, and enlargement is only, one should see it not only as not a geographical term, but not one which necessarily means that everyone becomes a member of the European Union, but certainly that we expand these values to a wider region of for creating cooperation. and incorporation into this family of values. Now, in not dealing with these globalizing problems, these globalized problems, and not dealing them in the best of ways, you will see the opposite happening. Politics being captured by a politics of fear, of populism, of segregation, of xenophobia, of racism. Global problems, our societies feel insecure, all of a sudden leaders appear saying, we can save you, they are to blame, they are to blame, they are to blame, rather than working together to solve the problems. In the financial crisis that we have gone through in Europe, I think we have had a bit of both. We have been able to find support, which is very important, but unluckily we have also seen the growth of nationalism, a tribalism, a sectarianism, a populism inside Europe too. And my belief is we need to overcome that. We need to overcome that narrative. It's very important for our region, for the world. And showing that in the Balkans, in the southeastern Europe, we have been able to make progress, I think is showing the added value of what the European Union is. That is why Greece promoted the process of Thessaloniki. We also promoted cooperation with Bulgaria and Romania for NATO membership. Actually, Greece and Turkey together did this when we started our rapprochement. And I remember with Ismail Cem the difficulties of the rapprochement between Greece and Turkey, but then Europe, amongst other things, provided a framework. Turkey and Greece were to be in the same family. And Turkey becoming a candidate for the European Union immediately changed the perspective. Since we are going to share this prospect and share these values, that means we can be good neighbors. That means we can respect the same values. We can, our minorities, we can respect the human rights. We will see that military will not be the solution and not be part of our running of our government. We will see how we can look for differences, but in cooperation be very, very effective. And when we started working, we actually saw that that cooperation had huge symbolic but practical value. I remember visiting Jerusalem with Ismail Cem to show and visit both Ariel Sharon and Yasser Arafat at that time to give a message that we can do this, you can do this also. I, of course, want to say that the process of accession of the Western Balkans is of great importance. We have always supported this process and continue to do so, even though Greece at this point is dealing with its own difficult financial issues. We know there are still problems in the Balkans. We have continued a discussion with our neighbor to the north, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, on the name issue. But we also know that this prospect means in the end we will be together, and in the end we will have solved this issue in the best of ways for both sides. So that is the importance of the magnet of Europe being one which allows us to overcome past histories, past problems, knowing our problems, but being able to overcome them. I do want to say something that I was disappointed, of course, when I heard candidates for the head of the Commission saying that there will be no further enlargement under their watch. And of course, my dear friend Jean-Claude Juncker has said this publicly. I disagree. I think we need to keep the prospect of enlargement alive. And I know it's difficult in a time when we have all these financial issues in the European Union. However, the opposite would be much worse. Therefore, I would want to see a new momentum in this. We had suggested 2014 as a symbolic year, 100 years after the beginning of World War I. Well, maybe we passed that deadline, but there is 2018, 100 years after World War I. Let us see if we can create a new momentum for accession. However, I believe that this momentum, Greece has been a motor and will continue to support it, but I think the momentum now also has to come from our own region, from the countries that are looking for accession. Institution building, changes, showing that our cooperation is not only possible but is positive, will be a positive sign for the European Union. So I believe that initiatives such as yours, Latko, need to be commended, need to be supported, need to be expanded on, and I thank you very much for being part of this panel. Thank you.